There's something that is part of our Catholic theology around Mass that's sometimes hard to grasp. In our historical effort as a church to emphasize the real presence of Jesus under the appearance of bread and wine, and how important it is for us in that moment when we receive Holy Communion, the emphasis sometimes gets shifted so far in that direction that we underappreciate another part of the mystery of Mass. And that is the actual consecration of the bread and wine into the body and blood of Christ. And not just because in that moment it changes, but because of our participation in that moment. Okay? So I was thinking about it this way. If God invited you over for supper, and he said, okay, you bring the ingredients and I'll cook the meal. In some ways, our Catholic Mass is like that. We're being invited to bring not just the bread and the wine, from the back of church, but to bring all of the spiritual sacrifices and prayers that we want to present to God as a gift. We want to present that. We want to bring that and prepare those gifts to be offered to the Father. Okay? So when we say participation in Mass, is not showing up and singing. It's knowing that when I come, I have something to offer to God. Okay? I have these gifts that he himself, through his grace, has worked through me or through us. And as a community, we come to praise and to thank him by presenting these gifts to the Father. And so that part of it should not be kind of overlooked. And why we say it's more important to participate in Mass than it is to receive Holy Communion. Okay? That sometimes seems strange to us because we have so emphasized our personal ability to receive Holy Communion. But if we understood what God does in us and through us when we do offer those gifts to him on the altar. Does that make sense? Okay. I think another way to understand that is if you go back historically, even before the time of Christ, that for all religions, and especially the Jews, there was an idea of offering sacrifices to God. And in offering those sacrifices, a covenant was established or renewed. And a lot of the prayers that we have in our Catholic Mass go back to those ancient rituals of preparing gifts to be placed on an altar, to offer them to God in the form of either making a covenant or renewing a covenant. And of course, that's what we're doing as well, preparing those gifts. And because of what Jesus did on the cross on Good Friday, those simple human offerings become a supernatural gift to the Father. That's, to me, the high point of Mass, is when we lift those gifts up and we say amen to this prayer, this consecratory prayer. That, in one sense, is the summit of the Mass. Okay? And then the bonus is that God turns around and gives us his very self to nurture us for our journey. So there's a real deep spirituality. Obviously, I know a lot of you know that already. And I'm just speaking to sometimes the need to remember this part of it. And that part of it. Okay. Thank you.